People love superheroes. They swoop out of the sky and save the day. People love that cozy feeling that superheroes give them.
Well. It's not what it looks like. I thought we had an understanding.
I know you're trying to be tough. Who are you?
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. Amazon just finished shooting The Boys Season 2. They dropped a new teaser. They let us know what the release date's going to be. There's a bunch of new characters that they're introducing, so we'll break it all down. I'll be doing videos for The Boys Season 2 all year long, so be sure to subscribe if you're brand new to the channel. They'll be dropping more stuff later this year and early next year, too. The new teaser for Season 2 just highlights Butcher's voiceover hyping up the idea that everyone loves superheroes, but because they're focusing on the footage of Homelander's son, it's much more insidious. The idea that this little kid probably has no idea who his father's been his whole life and is wanted to know, where do I come from? Why do I have these weird powers? So he'll eat up anything that Homelander tells him, which is really dangerous because not only is he this powerful little superhero kid, and Homelander probably has no idea how to be a good father, might wind up corrupting him, and might wind up turning into something even worse than Homelander. Like, there's this whole idea that they try to present him as the worst person on the show, maybe not necessarily a villain, but the closest thing to it. But there are other characters that are actually a little bit worse. Stormfront is a good example of that. I've already done a Stormfront video, so I will link it at the end of this. And as they said during that scene, his mother, Butcher's wife, never told him that Homelander was his father, so that makes it even more likely that he'll eat up anything that Homelander says. Then as you get more of that voiceover, you're reminded about Huey's arc during Season 1 and how his eyes were slowly being opened to Butcher's truth about superheroes, that they're just as bad and terrible as anyone else. Most of them aren't even very good at being a superhero, and the only reason why everyone believes in them so much, believes this lie, is because of Vought American's PR machine just pushing them on the public. All about merchandising, all about sales. Obviously now things are escalating into Season 2 because of their plan to try and get superheroes in the military. That's big money, and it's all about control. Because Vought American doesn't just care about money, they make tons of money. They want real power. And that's where you get into the idea of putting superheroes in the government, and even eventually maybe taking over the government. So that plan is just going to proceed through the course of Season 2. But as Huey's eyes were opened, and as this voiceover implies in the teaser, Homelander's son's eyes will also probably be open to the truth that Homelander is a terrible person, sort of hyping up the idea of Homelander versus his son. But probably not until we get to the series finale, because I do think the show will run for at least a couple more seasons. Then there's this footage of Starlight and the idea that she's slowly being corrupted and embracing her bad side more. She and Huey are actually written to have this parallel story arc where they both start out like these super innocent people who would never hurt a fly. But slowly through the course of the series, and this is continuing into Season 2, they're driven to violence and killing people like the supers that they're trying to stop. So even though in the comics, Huey is dosed with Compound V so he gets superpowers himself, I don't know if they're going to do that on the TV show. But they use their concurrent storylines to ask the question of whether or not they're becoming just as bad as the people like Homelander. For Huey, he's always portrayed as the more innocent of the two. It's Starlight that actually starts to embrace her dark side more. And as you saw, Vought American is starting to slut her up big time. Like, these are ads from Season 2 that they have around the set. She starts to have less and less of a problem with that. So the question is whether or not she's going to become just as bad as a character like Stormfront, who I think is going to be sort of a darkest timeline version of what Starlight might become during Season 2. The funny thing about that too, you think about how dark this gets, but this is them hanging out after they finished filming together. Like, you see Starlight here sticking her tongue out. You see Aya Cash's Stormfront sitting next to Homelander in the back. They're all just hanging out, having fun. But talking about one of the other biggest new characters that they're introducing, or they already introduced, they mentioned during Season 1, but we didn't actually see on screen, and that's Tech Knight. He's a huge character in the comics, but he's super funny in a very, very disturbing, messed up way. He was created to be a parody of Batman and Iron Man combined. Tech Knight, as in technology like Iron Man, Tech Knight has no natural powers. All of his abilities come from the gear that he invents, just like Iron Man. In Knight, as in the Dark Knight, and in the past, he had a sidekick named Laddie, who was a version of Robin, who also left him when he got older to become a version of Nightwing that they call Swingwing on the series. Just like Iron Man and Batman, he's super rich and has his own Batcave full of weapons and machines that he uses. This is a clip from season 1 where they're actually talking about the Tech Knight character during the Superhero Partners support group for people that were injured while they were getting busy with superheroes.
Some days are harder than others, obviously. You know, the other day I wanted to talk to my friend about all this, but I couldn't. I think that's why this group is so great. It's so important. I know it's wrong to feel angry. After all, Tech Knight saved me. I just wish he'd been a little more gentle with my spine.
It's about acceptance, isn't it? Letting go.
There was also a separate Tech Knight clip of The Deep doing a commercial talking about making things more eco-friendly and referencing that he made Tech Knight make his Batmobile more eco-friendly.
Okay. I mean, you take Tech Knight's Night Racer, had a carbon footprint the size of a 727. Thing literally shot fire.
As funny and messed up as all that was, like it gets even worse as the scene goes on, the way we're actually introduced to the Tech Knight character for the first time in the actual story was way crazier. He's in a therapy session right at the beginning of Volume 2 because he has a compulsive addiction to getting down with anything that he lays his eyes on, even inanimate objects. And it was because of that problem that he was kicked out of one of the other major new superhero groups called Payback. That's a group that's led by Stormfront, also one of the new characters during Season 2. They go on a mission to take down this hostile army in foreign territory, but as they're flying back to their headquarters, he starts to stare at his teammate's butt and just can't stop thinking about it. He winds up trying to get with him mid-flight in the air, and everybody freaks out. Stormfront and the others immediately kick him out of the Payback team. Remember way back during episode 1 when Starlight was named as the new member of the Seven? It was a big deal. Originally, that was supposed to be Tech Knight. He was going to become a member of the Seven, but Vought American found out about his little quote-unquote problem and vetoed his membership on the spot. The reason why Butcher and the boys care about Tech Knight is because he actually has something to do with their latest new case, which is given to them by another really big new character called the Legend. I think he's going to wind up being played by Patton Oswalt because they said that Patton Oswalt was playing a secret character, and who else would he play but this comic book expert who the Legend is designed to be like. The Legend in the comics is actually meant to be a parody of Stan Lee. He wants to police superheroes just like the boys do, but he trades mostly in information. So when you need information on other superhero groups, that's where Butcher goes. They find out that the Legend's grandson was a huge fan of Tech Knight's former sidekick, Swingwing, the version of Nightwing. He was last seen with Swingwing before he went missing, so the Legend thinks that Swingwing killed him and covered it up, so he sends the boys on the case, and they go to Tech Knight to try and get information about his former sidekick. But while they're there, Butcher uses his knowledge of Tech Knight's problem that he's been trying to hide from the public, trying to get with all these inanimate objects, forces him to become an informant for the boys inside the superhero community. Then there's a whole bunch of other stuff that happens with the Tech Knight character, but I don't want to get too spoilery with it, and I don't know how much of his story from the comics they're going to do during Season 2. But he's sort of adjacent to what's happening with all the Stormfront stuff and all the stuff with Homelander and the Seven. The comic book goes off in a couple big storylines in different directions before it converges back on itself. As for the actual release date, what happened last week is they finished filming Season 2, and Carl Urban posted this picture of them on set just celebrating, and also revealed that they're basically going to be releasing Season 2 around the exact same time that Season 1 came out. And if you remember, that was right at the end of July, right after Comic-Con. I think it was the week after Comic-Con. So until they say something more specific, just assume it's going to be sometime around then. But I will be doing more Season 2 videos as we learn more about what the show is doing and more bonus videos and Easter eggs from the comic books. Let me know in the comments, which other characters do you want them to introduce during The Boys Season 2? And if you have any big questions or bonus videos that you want me to make, the really big stuff that's happening this week is Rick and Morty Season 4 Episode 1 is dropping. I'll be doing weekly videos for that for all the episodes. Star Wars The Mandalorian episodes are also starting too. I'll be doing weekly videos for that as well. As long as you have alerts enabled for my channel, you should see all those videos when I post them. But if for some reason you are having trouble finding specific videos of mine, just let me know in the comments. Sometimes YouTube will change things or things will break, but it should be fine. So everyone, click here for The Boys Season 2 trailer video and the first look at the Stormfront character, and click here for that brand new Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse 2 trailer video. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. I'll see you guys tonight.